So everybody talks massively about the state of the housing market, and I'm 50 years old and I can't possibly save up a deposit and I'll never move out of my parents' basement or whatever it might be. Well, watch this video and learn how you can get a property for free. Amortization, bit of a difficult one to say that. So today I wanted to do a little video on how you can have a £0 house. I've done a video on this before on my old channel, but I wanted to do a bit of an update just as we're kind of 3-4 years down the line now. So first thing you need to do is head on over to the property series and watch the videos where you see how you can buy property below market value and then refurbish it and then refinance it so that you can get your deposit back out. So a quick recap of that is the BRRRR system, the buy, refurbish, refinance, repeat system, where you would buy a property below market rate, refurbish it and then refinance it to get back out your deposit. So let's say you've got the golden nugget of you found this particular one. Let's say it's a property for £100,000. You've put in £25,000 to buy it and you've refurbished it and now it's worth £150,000. So you can then withdraw the money by remortgaging it and you've got back your £25,000. So at this moment in time, this particular property has not cost you anything at all. The mortgage payments are around about £600 a month. So let's say that is your setup at the moment. So you've achieved that kind of status. So the next thing is in the UK, you're allowed to earn £7,500 a month from renting rooms out in your property. We'll put a little link in the description and maybe just a screenshot of where you can find that on the HMRC website. And you are allowed to earn that as an individual, not as a business, but as an individual, tax-free per year. So you can rent out the rooms in your property to the tune of £7,500, which is actually £625 a month. So that will cover your mortgage payments. Now you'll probably get more than that. I mean, even if you say a 3-bed property, maybe in the sort of more north of England or something like that, is around your £150,000 mark, and you're thinking, okay, well that's where I can buy that type of property for, get it refinance, refurbished as we described earlier, but then you can then rent out all of the 2 remaining rooms whilst you live there, so you're living here for free, don't forget, and then those 2 lodgers will probably pay you around about £350, maybe £400, including bills and things, per calendar month to rent those rooms off of you. That then will give you probably slightly more than your 625 that you can earn, but if you keep it below that limit, you won't have to pay any tax, and then that will fund your mortgage payments. And hopefully, if you can kind of just find the right style of property, maybe a sort of 3 or a 4 bed, you should be able to earn enough money to cover all of your taxes and any extra income over the £7,500, or you can keep it below that and just fund your mortgage. I mean, there are places in the UK where you can buy a 3-bedroom property for as little as, say, £50,000-60,000. Obviously, it's always relevant to what the rent of rooms are going to be. And the downside is obviously you have to give over some of your house, so this isn't particularly suitable if you've got a family or something like that. But as I'm assuming you're kind of starting out on your journey, necessarily probably won't have a family, you'll be kind of single or maybe with a couple or something to buy this, and you can rent those rooms out. And then that way you can end up with yourself with a house pretty much for free. So you've refurbished it, you've refinanced it, you've got your money back out, so it doesn't owe you any money, your house is there, you're now having to pay the mortgage, but then you rent the rooms out and then those rooms will cover the cost of the mortgage. So that is how you get a house for free in the UK. You can still use this method if you've already bought a house. So say you haven't done the BRRRR method or whatever, you just own a house and you suddenly find yourself with rooms left over in the property. So say you're, I don't know, 50 years old and your kids have moved out and they've gone off to uni or something like that, and you don't want to keep those rooms for them. They're never coming back. I'm sorry, mum and dad, but they've moved out and they've moved on with their life. You know, you might need a little tissue now, but that scenario there, you may want to consider renting those rooms out. Yeah, so if you live abroad or you're going to move out of the property, then you're going to end up it being a HMO. So then you are not able to claim the taxes, because then you're not living in the property. You have to actually be living in it. However, it doesn't stop you going on holiday, even if it's for a month over to Spain or something. You've got to live a proportionate amount of your time in the property. Now, they do change the rules from time to time, so it's always good to go to the HMR website, HMRC even website, and have a look and just check that. But the 7,500 limit is actually unchanged since I did the first video on this all the way to now. So that's a type of like kind of taxation, if you like, because it's inflationary. It hasn't gone up in line with inflation. So again, though, that video would have probably been, the maths would have been easier back then, 3-4 years ago, than it is now. So things are a little tighter, but they do change the rules. But as it stands at the moment, you have to spend a proportionate amount of your time. So I would say that would really be kind of 6 to 9 months of the year living in the property. So it doesn't stop you going on holidays or spending prolonged periods of time traveling if you want to, but it has to be your kind of principal residence. You can't kind of move abroad and say, well, I'm coming back to the UK for 6 months or something like that. So just bear those things in mind. But yeah, hopefully you've really liked the video, and that is the £0 house. And I know it won't be for everybody, as I mentioned before. If you've got family and so on, it's not particularly suitable for that setup. But for your general kind of person starting out at the beginning and you want to try and keep your costs as low as possible, rent those rooms out, buy that house, refurbish it and the rest of it, and then you can then end up with a house for free for yourself, with no tax to pay if you keep it below 7,500. And then if you go above that, then it's a notional rate depending on your tax band. So that'll be 20 or 40% for most people in the UK. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and like the channel, comment below if anybody does all of this kind of stuff. And I'm also going to be doing a video on how you buy a business for free using a clever strategy called vendor financing, and I'll be explaining all of that as well. So there'll be a link in the description, maybe a little link on this video here, to how you can go and watch that video as well.